this section, we will see how to provision a virtual machine using data science labs formulas and custom images. So let me select my data science lab. Let me click the formulas button. When I click on the add button, I'm being presented with the base operating system images available in the Azure's official repository and the marketplace repository. Let me select Windows Server 2012 Data Center Edition as my base OS image. Let me give this formula a name such as Node.js over Windows. This is my description. And you can see the image is selected because I selected it from here. But when I click on this virtual machine size, you can see only 6 images are available to me. And if you remember in my previous section, we defined only 6 images to be allowed to be selected. That's why only 6 are there. And those settings are applied here. So let me select uh, A2 standard machine since it's a dual core machine. Some virtual network and subnetwork configurations are already pre-selected. And if you have multiple virtual networks available in your subscription, definitely you can select them here. This is the section where you are telling this formula that whenever if somebody uses this formula and provision a virtual machine, will that virtual machine have a public IP address available or not? If you don't select this, that means only internal IP address will be assigned. So here you are actually saying, yes, you need a public address in case if this formula is used to provision any virtual machines. Artifacts, again, a very important section. If you click on the artifact section, you can see these are all the artifacts available compatible to Windows Data Server base OS image. So as we discussed in our previous section, we need Node.js as a server on our operating system. So I will select Node.js as an artifact. Once I select Node.js and create this formula, you can see that this formula is being created and being added to my list. So I think we need one more formula, meaning a formula where we need a Linux machine, but we need the Node.js also on that machine. So let me create that formula also. Again, I click the add button, but this time I'm selecting the Ubuntu machine, Ubuntu Server 1510 as my base OS. Size, let me select A2 basic for that. And from the artifact section, again, I need a Node.js on that. Let me give this formula name, which is Node.js over Ubuntu. You can see that this formula is also being created, and now I have two formulas. Okay, since these formulas are already created now, let me make you very clear the difference between an image and the formula. Formula means the only definition that what base OS you need and what artifacts you need to be installed on top of them. There is no virtual machine created yet, and there is no VHD created anywhere. There is no custom image involved here. So it's only a formula definition which is gonna tell the system that what type of base image and what other application you need on that system. So In order to launch the virtual machine using the Windows formula, click on the Windows. After you click on this formula, you can see this, what are those settings, and you can see plus add lab virtual machine button here. Select this button. So you can see not only those the base images are available, now your formulas are also available to you to launch any new virtual machine. But again, keep in mind these are formulas which are only definition, not the base images. So let me click on the Windows. Here it is asking what virtual machine name you want to be created using this formula. Here I will say I need to name it as Windows Virtual Machine 1 and image is selected here. But look, here is a very nice thing about the formulas. Even you need some last minute changes in your virtual machine provisional settings, it does not stop you from overriding those values. So if you even if you want to change some custom image here, you can change it here also. Here you are defining the username and password for the administrator. So let's say it is. If you are familiar with the Azure Resource Manager template, and if you are curious to know what is the template behind this all virtual machine creation, you can select this option. You can see that this is the Azure Resource Management template definition. Anyways, once these values are filled in, click the create button, and you can see that the system is provisioning the virtual machine now. That entry is also started appearing here. In the meantime, this Windows virtual machine is being provisioned. Let's take an advantage of launching another virtual machine, but this time our formula will be different. Let me select Ubuntu formula and let me name it as Ubuntu Virtual Machine 1. And as you know, for the Linux system, you have a possibility of doing password or SSH. So I'm for now easiness is using the password formula. So username, password, everything remains same. Again, if you want to change the image, you can select this image and change it. Again, making any changes here in this image selection will not affect your formula because the formula is still intact. You are only making changes to the provisioning time. You can see this virtual machine is being created, and in this section you can see those two machines are being provisioned. So now you can see my virtual machine images are up and running. Let me select this Linux virtual machine. You can see the IP address assigned to this machine. I will use this IP address to connect to this machine using SSH terminal. Let me copy paste this IP address into my SSH client. The username that I used, and here you go. I'm connected to the session, and since my password was stored in my session already, it was reused. Otherwise, you will see the password appearing here. In order to check whether the Node.js artifact was installed correctly or not, I will run the command node give me the version, and you can see the node is installed here, and I'm ready to install some node based application code here, which fortunately I have in my library. What I need to do is I will create a server.js file, and the way to do is to use the cat command, cat server.js. I will take this code and I will save it into this server.js file. Pressing Ctrl D will save this file. And the next command I need to give is to run this Node.js code. Some key feature of this codes are that I need an HTTP module from Node.js. I need to run an HTTP server on port 80, and this is the local port and the address on which it needs to be launched. So let me run this Node.js code. Okay, since I need some admin privileges, I need to run this command using sudo node server.js, and here you can see the Node.js code is running. And in order to check that public IP address, I will open a window and I will paste that IP address here, which was assigned to my virtual machine. And what I am expecting here is an application running on port 80 using this virtual machine. Here you go. This is Azure DevTestLab. This is the line coming out of my Node.js server, which you can see in my code was here. So that proves me this Node.js is perfectly installed and my Linux virtual machine is also running good. So let me focus back on my Windows virtual machine on which I have installed the same Node.js artifact. And again, I need some IP address. The good thing here is that I have an RDP file ready for me to connect with it. So this button using connect will give me a remote access into that. If you want to use the PowerShell remoting feature, you can definitely use this PowerShell IP address and the username, password, credentials. But let me remote into this machine for you. So you can see that now I'm logging into this machine. So I'm in this Windows virtual machine now. I will open a PowerShell and using the notepad, I will create one server.js file here. Let me copy paste the same code here. I save it. If you want to check that node is installed on this machine or not, so again the node version if you want to know. Okay, so yes, Node.js is installed here also because it was an artifact also here. So let me try to run this server.js file. Here you go, it's running. The same way I will try to access using the same IP address. But when I will enter this, you will notice a problem that I'm still not able to get the traffic through. The reason is by default, all the virtual machine images on the Windows side have a Windows firewall enabled. So what you need to do is come back to the machine, temporarily disable the firewall to see this thing working. But there are a lot of good ways of using PowerShell to only enable the port 80 or the required port on the server. But for now, let me just go and disable the Windows firewall service. And now if I go and refresh my browser, I should see this code available.
So while you can see here that my Linux custom image is being still created, my Windows virtual machine has stopped and looks like the custom image for the Windows machine is done finalizing. You can notice that Windows virtual machine is in a stopped state right now. And I told you the reason is that now there is no custom profile in available or anything in this generic image. So that's why Microsoft Azure stopped this Windows instance. It's very safe to delete this instance now because it's not usable anymore. So let me go ahead and delete this instance. So now this Windows virtual machine instance is deleted. While the Linux image is being created, if you click on this add new virtual machine button, now you can see that how the two formulas that we created earlier are still there, but a new custom image is appearing, which was created using the Windows with Node.js image. And this is the image which now can be used to instantiate or provision a new virtual machines right from the image where we left before deleting. So let me click on this, and again you have to give it a name. This time I'm saying it's WVM2. This is my username, this is my password, and this is the size and the network settings. Again, yes, I want a public address for this new virtual machine instance. Now you can see still I have artifacts section available, meaning we know that in this Windows virtual machine image with Node.js, the Node.js artifact was already installed. We installed an application, we created a server.js file, and that thing is still is in the image. But now if you want to add something else, for example, you want to add Visual Studio, Fiddler, or any Azure PowerShell type of artifacts, you can add it into this image right now. So what actually you're doing is you're taking a custom image and you're bundling further artifacts on top of that image, which not is the requirement for me right now. So I will skip this section. And again, if you want to see how the ARM template looks like, because maybe sometime this ARM template is useful for the usage in ARM resource-based provisioning scenarios. So let me create this image. So you can see this is a Windows Virtual Machine 2 instance is being created from my custom image. So we can now see here this Windows Virtual Machine 2 instance is up and running, which we created from the custom image. Let me try to RDP into this instance. I provide my credentials. So I'm inside the machine now. One thing I really want you to notice is that as per my local time, I am having 6:58 p.m., meaning I'm 2 minutes away from my automatic shutdown time. So now I think we have a chance to see that functionality working in real time, where we have defined that all virtual machines, no matter what, should be automatically shut down at 7 p.m. in the evening. So as I showed you that I am right now working inside Windows Virtual Machine 2. I've connected using the RDP session, and this is the RDP session. So I'm expecting that this virtual machine will automatically shut down within a minute or so. So let's wait and see how it appears here and inside my control panel. Another few seconds and we should see something happening on the control panel side. It's 7 p.m. So let's see what's happening. I'm expecting this will start running. And here you can see this instance has stopped itself. The control panel is showing that machine has been switched into stopping instance. That shows you that how this automatically shutdown works when the time arrives for the shutdown. So I think this video has pretty much shown you that how the different formulas they work, how we create the custom images, and from the custom images or formula we can create the virtual machine instances, how the automatic shutdown it works when the time arrives. In my next video, I will try to sum up some other tips, meaning I will show you some areas how the background processes were working. So until then, see you and see you next time in my next video.